In the context of project management, defects and enhancements refer to two important aspects that can significantly affect the course of a project. This presentation aims to provide insights into how to handle these aspects effectively. 1. Change management is key. Change management is highlighted as a fundamental element of successful project execution. It involves processes and strategies to ensure that any organizational adjustments or alterations in project plans are implemented smoothly and efficiently. Effective change management helps to minimize disruptions that can arise when changes are made during the project's life cycle. 2. Impact on project trajectories. Defects and enhancements have a direct impact on the way a project progresses. Defects, these are problems, errors, or issues that arise during a project, often related to the project's deliverables or processes. Managing defects is crucial to maintain project quality, meet objectives, and prevent further complications. Enhancements, on the other hand, are improvements or additions to the project scope or deliverables that may be requested by stakeholders. Properly managing enhancements is essential to balance project scope, cost, and schedule while meeting stakeholder expectations. 3. Exploring management strategies. The presentation aims to delve into the specific challenges and strategies associated with handling defects and enhancements within project management. This likely includes discussing best practices for identifying, prioritizing, and resolving defects, as well as processes for evaluating and incorporating enhancements into the project plan. Effective management of these aspects is critical to ensure that the project stays on track and meets its objectives while accommodating necessary changes. In summary, this presentation emphasizes the importance of change management and project execution and focuses on defects and enhancements as critical factors that project managers must navigate skillfully to achieve project success. It offers insights into the challenges and strategies involved in managing these aspects effectively. Distinguishing defects and enhancements is a critical aspect of change management in project development and maintenance. It involves recognizing and categorizing changes into two distinct categories, defects and enhancements, each serving a different purpose and requiring unique strategies for handling. Defects. Definition. Defects are issues or anomalies within a system or project that negatively impact its intended functionality or performance. Nature. Defects are unexpected problems or errors that can hinder the system's proper operation. They often arise due to coding errors, software bugs, or data inconsistencies. Examples: in a software application, a defect could manifest as a malfunctioning feature, frequent crashes, or data corruption. In manufacturing, defects might involve faulty components or assembly errors. Objective: the primary goal when dealing with defects is to identify and rectify them to restore the system to its intended functionality. This process typically involves debugging, troubleshooting, and quality assurance efforts. Enhancements. Definition: enhancements refer to planned and intentional changes made to a system or project with the aim of improving or extending its existing functionality or capabilities. Nature: enhancements are proactive modifications designed to make the system better, more efficient, or more user-friendly. They involve adding new features, optimizing processes, or incorporating innovative technologies. Examples: enhancements can take various forms, such as adding an AI-driven recommendation feature to a website, introducing a real-time inventory tracking system in an e-commerce platform, or enhancing the security protocols in a software application. Objective: the primary objective of enhancements is to improve the system's performance, usability, or competitiveness. This often requires careful planning, development, and testing to ensure successful integration and user adoption. In summary, distinguishing between defects and enhancements is crucial in project management and maintenance. Defects are unexpected issues that hinder functionality and need to be fixed promptly to maintain the system's integrity. Enhancements are planned improvements that aim to elevate existing functionality, enhance user experiences, or keep the system competitive. By categorizing changes correctly, project managers and development teams can allocate resources effectively, prioritize tasks, and ensure that both defects and enhancements are addressed appropriately to meet project goals and user expectations. Processing change requests is a crucial aspect of project management that involves a systematic approach to handling proposed modifications or alterations to a project's scope, schedule, budget, or other aspects. These changes can come from various stakeholders, including team members, clients, or external parties. Effectively managing change requests is essential for ensuring that a project remains on track, meets its objectives, and adapts to evolving requirements. Here's a detailed explanation of the process of processing change requests. 1. Initiation. Submitting change requests. Definition: the initiation phase marks the beginning of the change request process. During this stage, stakeholders or team members formally propose changes to the project. These changes can encompass a wide range of aspects, such as adding features, adjusting deadlines, or modifying project specifications. Purpose: initiation serves to capture and document proposed changes. It ensures that changes are formally submitted, creating a record of the request and a clear starting point for the evaluation process. Process: stakeholders or team members fill out change request forms, providing detailed information about the proposed change, its rationale, and its expected impact on the project. These requests are then submitted to a designated change control board or responsible party. 2. Review, assessing the validity of requests. Definition: the review stage involves a careful and thorough evaluation of the submitted change requests. During this phase, the proposed changes are assessed for their validity, feasibility, and potential impact on the project. Purpose: the review phase aims to determine whether the proposed changes align with the project's objectives and whether they are technically, financially, and logistically feasible. Process: a review committee or designated experts in relevant fields, such as project management, engineering, or finance, analyze each change request. They consider factors like the project's goals, scope, budget, and schedule to assess whether the change is in the project's best interest. 3. Approval, decision to implement or reject. Definition: the approval stage is where the fate of each change request is determined. Decision makers, often including project managers, stakeholders, and sponsors, evaluate the results of the review and decide whether to approve or reject the proposed changes. Purpose: The primary purpose of the approval phase is to make an informed decision about whether the change should proceed, taking into account its potential impact on the project's success. Process. Decision-makers weigh the benefits and drawbacks of each proposed change, considering factors such as alignment with project objectives, feasibility, cost implications, and scheduling constraints. If a change is approved, it is prioritized and integrated into the project plan. 4. Implementation, executing approved changes. Definition. The implementation stage is where the approved changes are put into action. It involves executing the necessary tasks and activities to incorporate the approved change into the project's ongoing work. Purpose. The primary purpose of implementation is to ensure that the approved changes are carried out effectively, efficiently, and in a way that minimizes disruptions to the project. Process. Once a change is approved, a plan for its execution is developed. This may involve assigning responsibilities, allocating resources, and establishing a timeline. The change is then implemented, monitored, and evaluated to ensure it meets the desired objectives and does not negatively impact the project's overall performance. In summary, processing change requests is a structured and systematic process that involves initiation, review, approval, and implementation. It allows project teams to manage proposed changes effectively, ensuring that only those changes that align with project objectives and are feasible are incorporated into the project plan while also minimizing risks and maintaining project integrity. Properly managing change requests is essential for successful project execution and adaptability to evolving circumstances. Investigating defects and corrective actions is a critical process in quality management and project execution. It involves identifying and addressing issues or defects that arise during a project's life cycle. Here's a detailed explanation of each stage. 1. Investigating defects, identifying the root cause. Definition. Investigating defects is the initial phase where in-depth analysis is conducted to understand the root cause of the problem. This phase aims to uncover why a defect occurred and what factors contributed to it. Purpose. The primary purpose of this phase is to determine the underlying reasons for the defect, which is crucial for preventing recurrence and making informed decisions on how to address it. Process. Investigating defects often involves a systematic approach, which may include reviewing documentation, conducting interviews, examining software code, inspecting physical components, or using specialized diagnostic tools. The goal is to identify the exact source of the defect, whether it's a coding error, a design flaw, a manufacturing issue, or any other contributing factor. 2. Documenting defects, gathering information. Definition. Documenting defects is a crucial step in the investigation process. It involves collecting and recording detailed information about the defect, its symptoms, when it occurred, and any relevant contextual data. Purpose. The purpose of documentation is to create a comprehensive record of the defect. This record serves as a reference for analysis, decision-making, and communication with stakeholders. Process. Teams responsible for investigating defects meticulously document their findings. This documentation typically includes detailed descriptions of the defect, its impact on the project, the steps taken during the investigation, and any evidence or data that supports the analysis. This information is essential for making informed decisions regarding corrective actions. 3. Corrective actions, addressing defects systematically. Definition: corrective actions involve devising and executing a plan to rectify the identified defect and prevent its recurrence. This phase is about implementing solutions to address the root cause of the problem. Purpose: the primary purpose of corrective actions is to eliminate the defect and improve the overall quality of the project or product. It also helps prevent similar defects from arising in the future. Process: once the root cause is identified and documented, a plan is developed to address the defect systematically. This plan may involve making changes to processes, redesigning components, fixing software bugs, or implementing new quality control measures. The corrective actions are executed with precision and rigor to ensure the defect is eliminated, and the project can proceed without impediments. Example: defect. In a software project, users are experiencing slow system response times. Investigation: the IT team reviews the database queries and identifies that inefficient code is causing the slow response. Corrective action: the IT team optimizes the code to improve performance, resulting in faster response times for users. In summary, investigating defects and corrective actions are integral parts of quality management. Investigating defects involves identifying the root cause of a problem, documenting the issue comprehensively, and then implementing corrective actions to rectify the defect and prevent its recurrence. This process helps ensure that projects and products meet quality standards and perform as expected. Evaluating urgency is a critical step in the change management process, where the focus is on determining the level of time sensitivity associated with proposed changes, whether they are requested modifications, defect resolutions, or any other alterations to a project, process, or system. Properly assessing urgency helps prioritize changes and allocate resources effectively. Here's a detailed explanation of this evaluation process. 1. Assessing urgency, determining time sensitivity. Definition: assessing urgency is the act of evaluating how quickly a proposed change or issue needs to be addressed. It involves gauging the time sensitivity and criticality of the change. Purpose: the primary purpose of this assessment is to ensure that changes are prioritized appropriately, focusing resources on those that require immediate attention while scheduling less time-sensitive changes as per project timelines. Factors considered: several factors are considered when assessing urgency. Impact on project objectives: changes that have a significant impact on project goals, timelines, or quality are often deemed more urgent. For instance, a change that risks missing a project milestone may be considered highly urgent. Stakeholder expectations: if a change request is crucial to meeting stakeholder expectations or contractual obligations, it may be categorized as urgent. Business impact: the potential impact on business operations, revenue, customer satisfaction, or regulatory compliance is a critical consideration. Urgent changes may be required to avoid significant financial losses or legal issues. Safety and security: changes related to safety, security, or legal compliance typically require immediate attention due to the potential risks involved. Example: scenario: In a construction project, an issue is discovered in the foundation that threatens the structural integrity of a building. Assessment of urgency. This issue is assessed as highly urgent due to safety and stability risks. Any delay in addressing it could lead to catastrophic consequences, such as building collapse or injury to workers. In summary, evaluating urgency involves considering a range of factors to determine the level of time sensitivity associated with a proposed change or issue. By carefully assessing urgency, project managers and decision-makers can prioritize and allocate resources effectively, ensuring that critical changes are addressed promptly to meet project objectives, stakeholder expectations, and business needs while managing risks effectively. Determining severity is a crucial step in change management, quality assurance, and project management. It involves assessing the level of impact that a defect or enhancement has on a project, product, or system. Severity levels help prioritize issues and allocate resources effectively. Here's a detailed explanation of this process. 1. Defining severity levels, minor to critical. Definition. Determining severity involves categorizing defects and enhancements into various levels, often ranging from minor to critical. These levels represent the extent to which the issue or change impacts the project, product, or system. Purpose. The primary purpose of defining severity levels is to prioritize issues based on their impact. It helps project teams focus on addressing critical issues that have the most significant consequences first, while lower severity issues may be addressed at a later stage or as resources permit. Severity levels. Severity levels are typically defined and may include categories such as minor, moderate, major, and critical. The exact categorization can vary depending on the organization and the nature of the project. Each level corresponds to a different degree of impact on the project's objectives, user experience, or overall functionality. 2. Impact on user experience. Definition. Severity levels take into account how an issue or change affects the user experience. Issues that directly impact usability or functionality are often assigned higher severity levels. Purpose. Evaluating the impact on user experience helps ensure that changes that significantly disrupt user interactions or satisfaction are given higher priority. Examples. A minor severity issue might involve a typo on a web page that doesn't affect functionality but may cause minor confusion. In contrast, a major or critical severity issue might involve a broken login system that prevents users from accessing a service, significantly impacting their experience. 3. Potential consequences of not addressing. Definition. When determining severity levels, it's essential to consider the potential consequences of not addressing an issue or change promptly. This includes considering the risks, costs, and impact on project objectives. Purpose. Understanding the potential consequences of not addressing an issue helps decision-makers prioritize effectively. Critical issues that could lead to severe financial losses, safety risks, legal consequences, or reputational damage often require immediate attention. Examples. A critical severity issue in a healthcare project might involve a security vulnerability that could lead to unauthorized access to sensitive medical records. Failing to address this issue promptly could result in legal consequences, privacy breaches, and severe reputational damage. In summary, determining severity levels is a vital aspect of change management and quality assurance. It involves categorizing defects and enhancements based on their impact, from minor to critical. By considering the impact on user experience and the potential consequences of not addressing the issues, organizations can prioritize and allocate resources effectively to ensure that critical issues are addressed promptly and that the overall quality and functionality of the project or product are maintained at an acceptable level. Prioritizing change requests is a fundamental process in project management and change management. It involves determining the order in which proposed changes, enhancements, or defect resolutions should be addressed. Effective prioritization ensures that limited resources are allocated optimally and that the most critical and valuable changes are tackled first. Here's a detailed explanation of this process. 1. Importance of prioritization in managing changes. Definition: prioritization is the act of ranking change requests based on their relative importance, urgency, and potential impact on project goals and objectives. Importance: prioritization is crucial because resources, including time, budget, and manpower, are often limited. It ensures that these resources are allocated to the most critical and valuable changes, thereby maximizing the project's chances of success. Benefits: effective prioritization helps in meeting project objectives, managing stakeholder expectations, controlling scope creep, and mitigating risks associated with unresolved issues or unaddressed enhancements. 2. Criteria for prioritization: urgency, severity, business value. Definition: prioritization criteria are the factors or attributes used to evaluate and rank change requests. Common criteria include urgency, severity, and business value. Criteria details. Urgency. Urgency reflects how quickly a change needs to be implemented. Changes with high urgency are typically those that have an immediate impact on the project, stakeholders, or business operations. Severity. Severity relates to the potential impact of a change. More severe changes have a greater potential to disrupt project objectives or negatively affect quality, safety, or user experience. Business value. Business value assesses how a change contributes to project objectives or the organization's strategic goals. Changes with higher business value align more closely with project or organizational priorities. 3. Using impact effort matrix. Definition: an impact effort matrix is a visual tool used for prioritization. It helps plot change requests on a matrix based on their potential impact, usually on the x-axis, and the effort required to implement them, usually on the y-axis. Purpose: the impact effort matrix provides a visual representation of change requests, making it easier to identify those with high impact and low effort, which are typically high-priority changes. Examples: in a marketing campaign project, if fixing a critical email link issue has a high potential impact on campaign performance, high on the impact axis, and requires relatively low effort to fix, low on the effort axis, it would be prioritized as a high-priority change. Additional prioritization techniques. Moscow method classifies requirements into categories such as must have, should have, could have, and want have. This method helps align stakeholder expectations with project scope. Kano model categorizes features or changes into different classes, including basic needs, performance needs, and excitement needs, to determine their priority based on customer satisfaction and delight. In summary, prioritizing change requests is a critical aspect of project management and change management. It involves ranking proposed changes based on criteria such as urgency, severity, and business value to ensure that the most critical and valuable changes are addressed first. Using tools like the Impact Effort Matrix and prioritization techniques such as the Moscow method and the Kano model aids in decision-making and resource allocation. Proper prioritization is key to project success and effective change management. Change impact assessment is a crucial step in the change management process that involves thoroughly analyzing the potential consequences and implications of proposed changes on a project, system, or organization. The goal is to understand how these changes will affect various aspects of the project, including scope, dependencies, integration, and resource allocation. Here's a detailed explanation of this process. 1. Analyzing the impact of changes on project scope. Definition: change impact assessment starts by evaluating how proposed changes will affect the project's scope. It includes identifying what parts of the project are impacted and whether the proposed changes align with the project's objectives. Purpose: the primary purpose is to determine whether the proposed changes are in harmony with the project's scope and goals or if they introduce deviations that need to be managed. Process: project managers and stakeholders review the project's original scope and objectives and then assess how the proposed changes align with or deviate from these goals. They consider whether the changes expand or restrict the project's boundaries and whether they introduce new features or requirements. 2. Considering dependencies, integration, and resources. Definition: change impact assessment goes beyond just the scope and also takes into account dependencies, integration points, and resource allocation. It evaluates how changes may affect other parts of the project and the resources required for implementation. Purpose: this aspect of impact assessment helps identify potential bottlenecks, conflicts, or resource constraints that may arise as a result of the proposed changes. Process: change impact assessment involves reviewing project documentation, dependencies, and resource allocation plans. It identifies which project components or processes are dependent on the changes and how they may be affected. It also assesses whether additional resources, such as time, budget, or personnel, are needed to accommodate the changes. 3. Facilitating decision-making and risk mitigation. Definition: one of the key outcomes of change impact assessment is to facilitate informed decision-making. It provides project stakeholders with a comprehensive understanding of the potential consequences and risks associated with the proposed changes. Purpose: the purpose of this phase is to enable decision-makers to make well-informed choices regarding whether to approve, modify, or reject the proposed changes. It also helps in planning risk mitigation strategies. Process: the results of the impact assessment are presented to project sponsors, managers, and relevant stakeholders. They evaluate the potential benefits, drawbacks, and risks associated with the changes. Based on this assessment, they decide whether to proceed with the changes as proposed, modify them, or reject them. If changes are approved, risk mitigation strategies may be developed to address any identified risks or challenges. Example. Scenario: in a construction project, there's a proposed change to alter the exterior material used for the building facade. Impact assessment: the impact assessment would consider how this change affects the appearance of the building, aesthetic impact, the cost of materials, budget impact, and the long-term maintenance requirements, operational impact. In summary, change impact assessment is a comprehensive evaluation process that analyzes the potential consequences and implications of proposed changes on a project's scope, dependencies, integration points, and resource allocation. It serves as a critical tool for informed decision-making and risk mitigation planning, ensuring that changes are managed effectively and align with project objectives. Change implementation strategies are approaches used to introduce and deploy changes within a project or organization. The choice of implementation strategy depends on the nature of the change, the project's goals, and the desired outcomes. Two common change implementation strategies are the Big Bang approach and incremental implementation. Here's a detailed explanation of each. 1. Big Bang implementation. Definition: the Big Bang approach involves implementing comprehensive changes all at once. It typically replaces the existing system, process, or product with the new one in a single step. Purpose: the primary purpose of the Big Bang approach is to achieve a swift and complete transition to the new state. It is often used when it is more efficient or cost-effective to replace the entire system or process rather than maintain the old and new in parallel. Advantages: speed: it can lead to a rapid changeover and may be suitable for situations where time is of the essence. Simplicity: the approach is straightforward and does not require the management of multiple systems simultaneously. Challenges: risk: there is a higher risk associated with the Big Bang approach because if issues arise during implementation, they can affect the entire system or organization. User adaptation: users may experience a significant learning curve or resistance to the abrupt change. 2. Incremental implementation. Definition: incremental implementation involves gradually introducing changes in stages or phases. It allows for a step-by-step transition, typically maintaining the existing system alongside the new one during the implementation process. Purpose: the primary purpose of incremental implementation is to mitigate risks, minimize disruption, and allow users and stakeholders to adapt gradually to the changes. Advantages: risk mitigation: it reduces the risk associated with implementing large-scale changes since issues can be identified and addressed in smaller, manageable phases. User adaptation: users have more time to adapt to the changes, reducing the potential for resistance and facilitating a smoother transition. Challenges: longer duration: incremental implementation may take longer to complete compared to the Big Bang approach, as it involves multiple phases. Resource allocation: it requires managing and supporting both the old and new systems or processes simultaneously, which can be resource-intensive. Example. Scenario: in a software development project, a company decides to upgrade its customer relationship management, CRM system. Big Bang approach. The company decides to implement a completely new CRM system, replacing the old one in a single, coordinated effort. This would require comprehensive training and user adaptation to the new system all at once. Incremental approach. Instead, the company chooses an incremental approach. It introduces the new CRM system in phases, starting with a small group of users or specific functionalities. This allows users to gradually adapt to the changes and provides opportunities to address any issues that arise in a controlled manner. In summary, change implementation strategies like the Big Bang and incremental approaches offer different ways to introduce changes into a project or organization. The choice between them depends on factors such as the nature of the change, risk tolerance, timeline, and user adaptation considerations. Each strategy has its advantages and challenges, and selecting the most appropriate one is a critical decision in change management.